Today we're going to be looking at the brand new Regenesis Archetype from Alliance Insight, and I would like to thank Yu-Gi-Oh! Organization for all the translations. So let's take a look at this deck and let's see what it does. First off, I want to take a note that the first and third effect of all the main four monsters of the deck share the same exact effect, so with that, let's get into it. We have Regenesis Warrior Sheet. It is a Fire Warrior effect, level 7, 2500 attack and defense, and you can only special summon with the first effect of this card's name once per turn, and you can only use the second and third effect of this card's name each once per turn. If a monster with 2500 original attack or defense is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. Quick effect, you could tribute this card, then target one monster your opponent controls, return it to the hand, and during your opponent's end phase if this card is in the graveyard, because it was sent there this turn, you can add it to your hand. So being able to have a quick effect compulse on a monster is really good. And having all four of the main deck monsters have that same third effect, being able to recover to the hand during the end phase of your opponent's turn, is actually really useful, because that's how your recursion is with the deck, being able to just recur whenever you need for which piece you want. So next up, let's get into the Spellcaster, being Regenesis Sage Shimot. It is a water spellcaster effect, level 7, 2500 attack and defense, and you can only special summon this card with the first effect of this card's name once per turn, and you can only use the second and third effect of this card's name each once per turn. I won't read the first and third effect because they are on all the level 7 and 8s. So this is a, when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you could send one other Regenesis card from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Having a built-in Omni Negate on the level 7 that can summon itself from the hand is really useful. And like I said about the other ones, being able to summon it if there is a monster with 2500 original attack or defense on the field is very good. And being able to recover during the end phase is also relatively good for follow-up on the next turn. Now then, next up we're going to be taking a look at the Dragon, Regenesis Dragon Vaikira. It is a wind dragon effect with a level 8, 2500, 2500, and you can only special summon with the first effect of this card's name once per turn, and you can only use the second and third effect of this card's name each once per turn. Quick effect, you can tribute this card, then target one spell trap card your opponent controls and banish it, along with the first and third effect that share the same from the other two. Being able to have a quick effect spell and trap banish is relatively good because it can do some interruption plays on what your opponent needs to do, like if they activate a Mouse in Underground, Raziel Cross, or even a continuous spell or equip spells. So honestly, this is going to be the one of or two of in the deck, but we'll see what people do with the deck when it gets out there and people start testing it. So next up, let's take a look at the next one, being an Archfiend. We have Regenesis Archfiend Bedmidbar. It is an Earth Fiend effect, level 8, 2500 attack and defense, and you can only special summon this card with the first effect of this card's name once per turn, and you can only use the second and third effect of this card's name each once per turn. This is the only one that has a different text because you can special summon this card from your hand by revealing one other monster with 2500 original attack or defense in your hand, and if this card is normal to special summon, you can add one Regenesis card from your deck to your hand, except another copy of itself. So being a reinforcement of the army that can summon itself is relatively good for the deck, because this is a card that you're going to be wanting to run 3 of, no matter the instance and no matter where you are in your combo or at the start of the duel. So this is the one that you want to see as much as you can, and you can get it off of Archfiend Harris since it is an Archfiend monster. So let's take a look at the next one and let's get on with it. And now let's get to the level 10 of the deck, which is completely different from what the others do. We have Regenesis God Deuteronominion. It is a light illusion special summon effect with a level 10, 25, 25. It cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned from your hand by banishing one face-up monster you control with 2500 original attack and defense. And you can only special summon one Regenesis God once per turn this way. If this card is special summoned, you can set one Regenesis spell or trap from your deck. It gains 2500 attack during the battle phase only, and if a card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage. So a 5k beat stick attacking into a defense position to do a lot of piercing damage is very scary, and we've seen this before with multiple cards doing piercing damage, so I cannot wait to see what people do with this. It's probably going to be the one of the deck, because you're probably going to brick on this, but you can probably get multiples out over the course of a few turns, so we'll have to see what happens there. Or you can summon out multiples and just be fine at turn 3 having 2 of them on the field. But anyways, let's get to the spells and traps. So for this first spell card, it's literally called Regenesis. It's a normal spell and you can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. Take one Regenesis monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard, or if you control a Regenesis monster, you can add one monster with 2500 attack and defense from your deck to your hand instead. If this card is in the graveyard except the turn it was sent there, you can banish it, then target one Regenesis monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So being able to add any monster that has 2500 is really good when you have a Regenesis monster on the board, or just being able to get any Regenesis monster to your hand or to the graveyard is also pretty potent. Being able to banish it on the next turn of yours to target Regenesis to summon it is also really good, and you can use both effects. Like, you use one turn 1 and then turn 3 you can use both. That's completely fine, and honestly I really like that card design. Being able to have that clause, not being able to instantly get a 25/25 out. Next up, we're going to be looking at the quick play spell card, being Torah Regenesis. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. You cannot special summon from the extra deck until the end of the next turn after this effect or this card resolves. Also, special summon one Regenesis monster from your deck, but send it to the graveyard during your opponent's end phase. During the main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you could banish this card from the graveyard or your graveyard, then target one of your banished Regenesis monsters, special summon it. Being able to get any of your Genesis monsters from your deck is really good. Just summon them to the field, like you'd summon an Archetype to get a search, and during the end phase it's going to go away anyways. So I really like that. And the other effect is during your main phase you could banish this to summon any of your banished Genesis monsters is really good, especially paired with God and a couple other cards here and there. So this is another very strong card for the deck, and realistically I cannot wait to see what players do with this deck. And now finally we're going to be looking at the Continuous Trap card, being Regenesis Birth. You can only use one of the first and second effect of this card's name per turn, and only once that turn. You can send one Regenesis monster from your deck to the graveyard, then target one face-up monster your opponent controls, change its face-down defense position. Being a Book of Moon is really good. And during your opponent's turn, you can send this card face-up from your spell and trap card zone to the graveyard, special summon as many Regenesis monsters with different names as possible from your hand, graveyard, and or banishment, but send them to the graveyard during the end phase. Having a soul charge like card or just summon out multiples from the hand is very useful, and at the end phase you get all the names back because it's during your opponent's turn and they're being sent to the graveyard, so you get to have 4 different names come back to your hand at once. That could be really, really potent as follow-up on your next turn if your opponent cannot kill you at that point. But I wonder what you guys think about the new Regenesis theme from Alliance Insight. I'm really excited for it because you could run things like Cashier, you can run other things that are level 8 extenders if you really need to, but realistically I could see players doing Regenesis Dogmatica, as that's a way to fill in some of the blanks with some of the cards. But anyways, I have been Bolt Spider. I hope you guys did enjoy this video, but anyways, see you all in the next video.